हरे कृष्णा। हमारे परम सौभाग्य है कि हमारे बीच में आज परम पूज्य गिरिराज स्वामी महाराज पधारे हैं पुणे में। महाराज जी की मुलाकात प्रभुपाद जी के साथ 1969 में हुई, जब वो बॉस्टन में एक कॉलेज में पढ़ रहे थे, ब्रांडाइस यूनिवर्सिटी नाम के। तो उस कॉलेज में प्रभुपाद जी गए थे। प्रभुपाद जी ने एक प्रवचन दिया। वो प्रवचन महाराज को इतना अच्छा लगा, मानो उनको लगा कि कॉलेज में मैं 4-5 साल जो पढ़ा, इतना पढ़ने के बाद भी ज़्यादा लाभान्वित नहीं हुआ कॉलेज में, लेकिन प्रभुपाद जी के एक प्रवचन सुनकर जीवन का पूरा सारांश मुझे मिल गया। तो तत्क्षण उन्होंने सोच लिया कि इनको ही मैं गुरु के में स्वीकारूंगा और मेरे जीवन इनके श्री चरणों में न्यौछावर कर दूंगा। ऐसे उन्होंने मन में एक संकल्प बना लिया। तो कॉलेज होते ही महाराज बाहर निकलने के बाद इस्कॉन बॉस्टन में शामिल हुए, प्रभुपाद जी से दीक्षा ली। तो प्रभुपाद जी बहुत प्रसन्न हुए इनको मिलने के बाद। उनके साथ अच्छी तरह अनेक बार वार्तालाप हुआ प्रभुपाद जी के साथ। प्रभुपाद जी को मिलने के पहले महाराज जी अनेक संस्थाओं में जाकर परम सत्य की खोज करते थे। किसी ने उनको बोला था कि तुम ही भगवान हो। जब प्रभुपाद जी को मिला, उनको पता चल गया कि हम भगवान नहीं हैं, भगवान कृष्ण हैं और भगवान के हम दास हैं। तो सही ढंग से प्रभुपाद जी ने समझा, इनको बहुत अच्छा लगा इनको। तो महाराज बता रहे थे कि इनके कमरे में आई एम गॉड ऐसे लिखा था उन्होंने, लेकिन प्रभुपाद जी उसी पॉइंट को पकड़ कर बोल दिया कि हम भगवान नहीं हैं, भगवान कृष्ण हैं, हम कृष्ण के दास हैं। महाराज को पता, आश्चर्य हुआ कि प्रभुपाद जी को कैसे पता कि मैं ऐसे सोच रहा हूँ। तो इस तरह प्रभुपाद जी से बहुत प्रसन्न हुए, प्रभुपाद जी के वार्तालापों से। उसके बाद दीक्षा होने के बाद प्रभुपाद जी ने इनको भारत आने के लिए स्वागत की। प्रभुपाद जी उन दिनों में कहते थे कि मैं अमेरिका में प्रचार करके अमेरिकी सफ़ेद हाथियों को लेकर भारत में आकर उनको दिखाकर भारत में हम प्रचार करेंगे, क्योंकि अगर एक पाश्चात्य देश की व्यक्ति हरिनाम जप कर प्रेमोन्माद का अनुभव कर सकता है तो भारतवासी उसको देखकर प्रभावित होंगे। ये प्रभुपाद जी की योजना थी। तो वो उस वर्ग में जो भी अनेक लोगों को प्रभुपाद जी ने भारत में लेके आया, उनमें से गिरिराज स्वामी महाराज का भी एक प्रधान स्थान है। तो प्रभुपाद जी 1972 में प्रभुपाद जी उनको इस्कॉन जुहू मंदिर के अध्यक्ष बनाया और भक्तिवेदांता बुक ट्रस्ट के भी ट्रस्टी बनाया। तो उसके बाद प्रभुपाद जी के मिशन में महाराज के बहुत बड़े बड़े योगदान हैं। आप लोग जानते हैं कि जुहू मंदिर अभी आजकल जो खड़ा हुआ है उधर, श्री श्री राधा रास बिहारी के मंदिर, इतना मजबूत मंदिर है। लाखों करोड़ों भक्त लोग उधर आकर भगवान का दर्शन किया है, कीर्तन किया है, प्रवचन सुना है, भक्ति में जुड़े हैं। सारे दुनिया में जो भी लोग जुहू से जुड़े हुए हैं, आप देखेंगे ये मंदिर को निर्माण करने में महाराज का बहुत बड़ा हाथ है। महाराज इन एंड आउट सब जानते हैं। मिस्टर यान और प्रभुपाद के बीच में जो भी हुआ, इतना डिटेल में उनकी किताब में महाराज ने लिखा है। तो एक बार उधर जुहू मंदिर में 40th ईयर 40वां साल वो लोग बना रहे थे। वो लोग बता रहे थे कि महाराज को जुहू मंदिर के हर कोना कोना मालूम है उनको, पूरा जानते हैं महाराज जी। उधर उनके घर जैसा है, क्योंकि प्रभुपाद जी की इच्छा के लिए उन्होंने डेवलप किया जुहू मंदिर को। उसके बाद महाराज जी वृंदावन में 4 बहुत प्रधान प्रोजेक्ट्स को डेवलप किया उन्होंने। एक है इस्कॉन, जो भक्तिवेदांता आश्रम ऐसे बोलते हैं, जो प्रभुपाद जी के अनेक शिष्य उधर आकर कार्तिक महीने में भजन के लिए आते हैं, भागवत की श्रवण करते हैं। ये कीर्तन आश्रम और भक्तिवेदांता हॉस्पिस, वृंदावन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ पैलिएटिव केयर, ऐसे सब बहुत अच्छे अच्छे प्रोजेक्ट्स को वृंदावन में महाराज ने निर्माण की। महाराज जी भक्तों को सपोर्ट करने में महाराज की इच्छा है कि खास करके जो वृद्ध भक्त हैं, जो कुछ व्याधिग्रस्त हैं, उनको वृंदावन में शरीर त्याग ना हो, तो उनके लिए महाराज ने इस तरह के आयोजन की ताकि अंतिम काल में वो लोग कृष्ण का स्मरण करते करते वो शरीर छोड़ सके। तो इस तरह जुहू मंदिर में मंदिर को निर्माण करना तो एक चीज़ है, लेकिन महाराज जी को प्रभुपाद जी ने एक खास फंड रेसिंग का भी एक सेवा दी थी। तमलक्ष महाराज, इस गिरिराज महाराज दोनों साथ में फंड रेसिंग के लिए जाते थे। बड़े बड़े लोगों को, नेताओं को मिलकर उन्होंने मंदिर से जोड़ा। आज भी जुहू मंदिर के साथ जुड़े हुए करोड़पति अनेक लोग हैं, उन लोगों को जोड़ने का काम महाराज ने किया। और 1977 में प्रभुपाद जी की वैकुंठवास हुई। उसके अगले साल महाराज जी को संन्यास दिया गया और इस्कॉन बोर्ड ऑफ ट्रस्टीज उसके महाराज को अध्यक्ष बनाया गया। 1982 में महाराज जी को इस्कॉन जीबीसी में उनको नियुक्त करके उनको भी एक जीबीसी बनाया गया। उसके बाद बॉम्बे, मॉरिशियस, साउथ अफ्रीका, स्पेन, पोर्चुगल, श्रीलंका और पाकिस्तान, ये सब स्थानों में प्रचार करने के लिए महाराज सफ़र करते थे ऐसे। और वृंदावन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ हायर एजुकेशन VIHE, उधर भी महाराज जी रेगुलर प्रवचन देते हैं और जपा रिट्रीट और वर्कशॉप करते हैं सारे दुनिया में भक्तों के लिए। और आजकल महाराज जी का निवास स्थान है कारपेंट एरिया, कैलिफोर्निया में, जिधर महाराज जी एक महत्वपूर्ण सेवा जो प्रभुपाद जी ने उनको दी है वो कर रहे हैं। वो क्या है? प्रभुपाद जी ने बोला कि तुमको किताब लिखना चाहिए और उसके द्वारा कृष्ण भावना को फैलाना चाहिए। तो प्रभुपाद जी के आदेश को लेकर उन्होंने वाटरिंग द सीड ऐसे उधर से शुरू की। उसके बाद मैनी मून्स ऐसे किताब है, लाइफ्स फाइनल एग्जाम डेथ उसके ऊपर एक किताब है, डाइंग फ्रॉम द वैदिक पर्सपेक्टिव और वो भी है। और आगे जाकर अनेक और भी किताब निकलने वाले हैं। महाराज जी एक अर्ली डेज इन बॉस्टन टेम्पल, बॉस्टन में ब्रह्मचारी थे, उसके बारे में भी लिखने वाले हैं किताब। और ट्रैवल्स विद श्रील प्रभुपाद इन इंडिया, वो किताब निकल गया, आज भी आपको मिलेगा। हाँ, वो दिखाएंगे आज भी। ये भी किताब निकल गया, डांसिंग वाइट एलिफेंट्स, ये भी महाराज का निकल आया है ये भी। और इस तरह अनेक किताब महाराज निकाल रहे हैं जो भक्तों के लिए बहुत आनंददायक है, क्योंकि प्रभुपाद जी के साथ जो भी उनके खास शिष्यों का आदान प्रदान हुआ है उसके बारे में पढ़ने से हमको भी भक्ति में बहुत स्फूर्ति मिलता है। श्रील प्रभुपाद मॉन्यूमेंटल एफर्ट्स इन बॉम्बे एंड वैष्णव होली डेज, ये सब किताबें महाराज जी मनी ऑफ देम आर इन पाइपलाइन, महाराज जी लिख रहे हैं, एक एक करके निकल रहा है किताबें। ये बहुत बड़ा योगदान है इस्कॉन के सारे दुनिया के भक्तों के लिए, क्योंकि ये ऐतिहासिक चीज़ें हैं और प्रभुपाद जी के बारे में जितना हम जानते हैं उतना हमारे फाउंडर आचार्य की और हमारा प्रीति बढ़ता है और हम शरणागत होते हैं, भक्ति में और स्थिरता प्राप्त करते हैं। तो ये महाराज जी के बहुत बड़ा योगदान है। मेरी मुलाकात हुई महाराज के साथ 1991 में, जब महाराज IIT में मैं पढ़ता था। वो कम से कम महीने में 1-2 बार आते थे जुहू मंदिर से प्रवचन देने के लिए। इनके साथ और एक सोलनाथ केशव भारती महाराज दोनों आते थे साथ में, और दोनों की मैत्री देखकर हम लोग बहुत प्रभावित होते थे। दोनों बहुत निकट मित्र थे, प्रभुपाद के शिष्य थे। और महाराज जी प्रवचन देते थे साथ में, इनके साथ जैसे 15-20 लोग जुहू से आते थे इनके प्रवचन सुनने के लिए। तो महाराज जी बहुत सब तरह के सेवाओं में, जैसे फंड रेजिंग हो, मंदिर के निर्माण हो, और प्रभुपाद जी की जो भी इच्छा है उसको पूर्ति करने में सक्षम रहे महाराज जी। और पूना के साथ महाराज जी का खास संबंध है, क्योंकि 1994 में जब मैं ज्वाइन किया था मुंबई में, उसके बाद एक बार आया था इधर पूना में। मैं इधर ज्वाइन करने के पहले 95 में ज्वाइन किया मैं पूना में। उस साल महाराज आए थे, उसके पहले हमारे इस्कॉन पूना में कृष्णा महाराज वो अध्यक्ष थे। उसके बाद वृंदावन प्रभु को नियुक्त किया गया, उसके बाद कृष्णानंद प्रभु को। इन लोगों को नियुक्त करने में महाराज का बड़ा हाथ है, क्योंकि जुहू मंदिर को प्रतिनिधित्व करने वाले व्यक्ति महाराज ही थे पूना में, क्योंकि पूना मंदिर भी जुहू मंदिर का एक एक्सटेंशन है। वो लोगों ने ही आकर चालू की इधर पूना में। तो उस समय महाराज आते थे इधर पूना। ही वॉज वेरी कंसर्न अबाउट पूना मैनेजमेंट। तो उसके बाद जब मेरा अध्यक्ष के रूप में नियुक्त किया गया, महाराज के आशीर्वाद मिले मुझे। इधर आते थे महाराज जी टाइम टू टाइम ऐसे। तो आजकल पिछले 2-3 सालों में हम साल में एक बार महाराज को ला पा रहे हैं। हम अपेक्षा करते हैं कि इस तरह महाराज हमेशा पूना में पधारे और हम लोगों को उनके दिव्य संग प्रदान करें, और उनसे सीखने लायक अनगिनत चीज़ें हैं। तो कल का प्रवचन बहुत बढ़िया हुई उधर नित्यानंद त्रयोदशी के संबंध में। महाराज ने जगह मदय के उद्धार के बारे में विस्तृत रूप से नित्यानंद प्रभु की कृपा कटाक्ष के बारे में बताया उन्होंने। तो आज भी हमारे इस भाग के सत्र देने के लिए आए महाराज जी। आइए हम महाराज को स्वागत करते हैं। हरि बोल, हरि बोल। हिज होलीनेस गिरिराज स्वामी महाराज की। साथ साथ महाराज के एक शिष्य भी, एक सन्यासी पधारे हैं, हिज होलीनेस भक्ति बृहद भागवत स्वामी महाराज। तो भक्ति बृहद स्वामी महाराज का भी पुणे के साथ बहुत सालों से संबंध है। इधर जो प्रसादम हॉल है, उन दिनों में उधर 7 दिन का भक्ति सदाचार कोर्स महाराज ने दी थी। हमारे कांग्रेगेशन से 100 से ज़्यादा भक्त जुड़े थे उसमें। हर दिन शाम को 7 दिन के लिए महाराज ने दी थी। सबको सदाचार सिखाया उन्होंने। उसके बाद एक जपाश्रय करके कोर्स उधर भी किया है, NBCC में भी। तो महाराज जी हिज होलीनेस भक्ति बृहद भागवत महाराज ने मुझे और वंशीवर्धन को बुलाकर हम तीनों का एक टीम बनाया, ISKCON लीड्स करके। इन्होंने चालू कि भारत के सब नेताओं को ट्रेनिंग मिलना चाहिए, इस अपेक्षा लेकर। हाँ, तो वो आज भी चल रहा है वो ISKCON लीड्स का ट्रेनिंग। सारे भारत से 30-40 लीडर्स आते हैं हर साल, उनका 50 दिन का ट्रेनिंग है। तो इस तरह से भक्ति बृहद भागवत महाराज प्रशिक्षण देने में, ट्रेनिंग में बड़े उत्साही हैं। तो वो भी साथ में, उनको भी स्वागत करते हैं। हरि बोल। हिज होलीनेस भक्ति बृहद भागवत स्वामी महाराज की। Maharaj is asking, Maharaj talk will be translated or FM is going on? Where is it? You don't have FM? पीछे है क्या? Where is it? One of you should announce it. Come here. Where? Kutira. They cannot see Maharaj. You cannot put in online. FM? They cannot see Maharaj here. They cannot sit here and here. You don't have FM? FM? Because they will want to see Maharaj also. If you can arrange, you can call them. They can sit just behind here. Yeah. You cannot put them in kutir and have a. So it would be nice to be here. You can. Where is Lalit Madhav Prabhu? Lalit Madhav Prabhu, they can be called here. They can sit here behind. They can translate here, or you can put in FM. Huh? Just behind. Yeah.
So you are okay. Hare Krishna, my dear devotees. I will begin by singing the Mangalacharana prayers and leading a short kirtan, and then I will speak on Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupa Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotra Sutta Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Astotra Sutta Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samveta Bhaktavinda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'll be back in a minute.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. कलियुग पावन श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की।
Hare Krishna, my dear devotees. We shall read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam, text 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Please repeat. Na Yad Vachas Chitra Padam Harer Yasho Jagat Pavitram Pragrinita Karichit Tad Vayasam Tirtham Ushanti Manasa Na Yatra Hamsa Niramanti Ushik Shaya Nayad Vachas Chitra Padam Harer Yasho Jagat Pavitram Pragrinita Karichit Tadvayasam Tirtham Ushanti Manasa Nayatra Hamsa Niramanti Shikshaya. Na, not. Yat, that. Vacha, vocabulary. Chitrapadam, decorative. Hare, of the Lord. Yasha, glories. Jagat, universe. Pavitram, sanctified. Pragrinita, described. Karichit, hardly. Tat, that. Vyasam, crows. Tirtham, place of pilgrimage. Ushanti, think. Manasa, saintly persons. Na, not. Yatra, where. Hamsa, all perfect beings. Niramanti, take pleasure. Ushikshaya, those who reside in the transcendental abode. Translation. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Please repeat. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Crows and swans are not birds of the same feather because of their different mental attitudes. The fruitive workers or passionate men are compared to the crows, whereas the all-perfect saintly persons are compared to the swans. The crows take pleasure in a place where garbage is thrown out, just as the passionate fruitive workers take pleasure in wine and women and places for gross sense pleasure. The swans do not take pleasure in the places where crows are assembled for conferences and meetings. They are instead seen in the atmosphere of natural scenic beauty, where there are transparent reservoirs of water, nicely decorated with stems of lotus flowers in variegated colors of natural beauty. That is the difference between the two classes of birds. Nature has influenced different species of life with different mentalities, and it is not possible to bring them up into the same rank and file. Similarly, there are different kinds of literature for different types of men of different mentality. Mostly, the market literatures which attract men of the crows categories are literatures containing refused remnants of sensuous topics. They are generally known as mundane talks in relation with the gross body and subtle mind. So, my dear devotees, the purport of this verse is that we should be selective in what we read and hear, because reading or hearing mundane topics will pollute our consciousness, and hearing transcendental topics will purify our consciousness. Now we have access through social media to all sorts of topics, and there will be no one to check what we're reading. So we should be mindful of the different effects that the different types of topics have on us, and not indulge in reading or hearing mundane topics which are meant for people who are like crows, but rather we should be like swans and relish topics of Krishna. Mostly, the market literatures which attract men of the crows categories are literatures containing refused remnants of sensuous topics. They are generally known as mundane talks in relation with the gross body and subtle mind. They are full of subject matter described in decorative language, full of mundane similes and metaphorical arrangements. Yet with all that, they do not glorify the Lord. So yeah, there are mundane authors who can write very nicely. But if they do not write about the glories of the Lord, then their literature is useless for us, for any devotee. Such poetry and prose on any subject matter is considered decoration of a dead body. Because real life is Krishna consciousness, and anything without Krishna consciousness is basically dead. Spiritually advanced men who are compared to the swans do not take pleasure in such dead literatures, which are sources of pleasure for men who are spiritually dead. Once in Calcutta, Srila Prabhupada's disciple Sham Sundar was somehow reading a copy of Time magazine. And Srila Prabhupada saw him, and he said that the people in this magazine are so sinful that just by reading about them or reading what they have written, you will lose your pious credits. We should be very careful about what we read or hear. Spiritually advanced men who are compared to the swans do not take pleasure in such dead literatures, which are sources of pleasure for men who are spiritually dead. These literatures, in the modes of passion and ignorance, are distributed under different labels, but they can hardly help the spiritual urge of the human being. And thus the swan-like spiritually advanced men have nothing to do with them. So we should not touch these literatures or these topics. We should avoid them. Such spiritually advanced men are also called manasa because they always keep up the standard of transcendental voluntary service to the Lord on the spiritual plane. So the Srila Rupa Goswami has mentioned 6 divisions of surrender, and the first 2 are anukulyasya sankalpa and pratikulyasya varjanam. So anukul means favorable. So we should accept whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness, and we should reject whatever is unfavorable. So topics of the Lord are favorable, we should accept them, and topics of mundane subjects without glorification of the Lord should be rejected. And that will help us to progress. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjana. Such spiritually advanced men are also called manasa because they always keep up the standard of transcendental voluntary service to the Lord on the spiritual plane. This completely forbids fruitive activities for gross bodily sense satisfaction or subtle speculation of the material egoistic mind. Social literary men, scientists, mundane poets, theoretical philosophers, and politicians who are completely absorbed in the material advancement of sense pleasure are all dolls of the material energy. So these people may be respected in human society. They may be considered very important people. But if they do not engage in topics of the Lord, they have no value, and they are compared to crows. Social literary men, scientists, mundane poets, theoretical philosophers, and politicians who are completely absorbed in the material advancement of sense pleasure are all dolls of the material energy. They take pleasure in a place where rejected subject matters are thrown. According to Swami Sridhar, this is the pleasure of the prostitute hunters. But literatures which describe the glories of the Lord are enjoyed by the Paramahamsas who have grasped the essence of human life. And I'll just read the next verse, the Sanskrit and the translation, because it goes along with the verse we just read. And it has very great significance for us as followers of Srila Prabhupada. So text 11, Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhadyavatyapi Namanyanantasya Yasho Nikantiyat Shinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhava. Translation. On the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. So, Srila Prabhupada quotes this verse because in his humility he considered his writing to be imperfectly composed. And this is what he writes in his preface to Srimad Bhagavatam. I must admit my frailties in presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, but still I am hopeful of its good reception by the thinkers and leaders of society on the strength of the following statement of Srimad Bhagavatam 1:5-11. Tadvag Visargo Janataga Viplavo Yasmin Pratishlokam Abhadyavatyapi Namanyanantasya Yasho Nikanti Yach Trinvanti Gayanti Grinanti Sadhava. Quote, on the other hand, that literature, which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the unlimited Supreme Lord, is a transcendental creation meant for bringing about a revolution in the impious life of a misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though irregularly composed, is heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. And some devotees have commented that this verse indirectly refers to Srila Prabhupada, because at the time that Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken, say 5,000 years ago, we can't say that civilization was misdirected and that people were impious. So this verse hints at Srila Prabhupada and his mission bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of the world's misdirected civilization, which is the case now in Kali Yuga. So, yes, we're very grateful to Srila Prabhupada for giving us all these wonderful books, translations, Bhagavad Gita as it is, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Ishopanishad, and others. And in conclusion, I would like to read something that gives a hint of how Srila Prabhupada's books were written. So this is a remembrance by Prabhupada's disciple, Bhagavat Das. Prabhupada said, "Can you quote this verse?" And the two of us looked at each other, and I thought, Tamal Krishna Goswami will quote the verse. But Tamal Krishna Goswami thought I was going to do it. Neither of us knew the verse. Prabhupada said, "Just see, you are not reading my books. Every day you have to read, study, and learn my books, just like a lawyer learns the law books. You must know everything, chapter and verse. If you do not know, how will you preach? Unless you know my books, how will you teach these men? Do you know that every day, even I read my own books? Do you know why I read my books?" And Bhagavad says, we didn't want to venture any answer. Then Prabhupada said, "I read my books every day because even I learn something new when I read my books. These are not my books. I do not write these books." At this point, it seemed as if something mystical came over him. He said, "Every morning, when I sit here to write my books, Krishna comes personally and dictates to me what to write. I simply take dictation from Krishna to write these books. Therefore, when I read them, even I learn something. Then Bhagavat continues. The way he said it was so dramatic that we felt the weight of his words. I was thinking, I am speaking with a person who is speaking with God, who is right next to God. I am only one person removed, means away from God. He is so close. Yet I knew, because of the state of my own consciousness, how far away I actually was. So these books are written by Krishna, and we should take advantage of them. And as Srila Prabhupada said, we should study them like a lawyer studies the law books. So we can quote chapter and verse as required, as appropriate. So yes, Srila Prabhupada labored very hard to give us these books. He would take rest at about 10 at night, and after only 2 hours, at about midnight, he would wake up and he would dictate these books. So we should make Srila Prabhupada's effort fruitful by reading the books, studying the books, learning the books, and then sharing the knowledge in the books with others. So my dear devotees, thank you for listening so patiently and attentively. And now if any of you have any questions or comments, any reflections you would like to share, you can raise your hand.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for a wonderful class. Maharaj, this question is in two parts. This is from your what you just said about Shyam Sundar Prabhu reading the time. So unfortunately, many of us are part of society as well. So we need to be socially aware and yet spiritually absorbed. So one is, how do you balance that? And secondly, being in a profession, we need to keep ourselves professionally updated. So how do we strike a balance between being professionally updated and just reading mundane stuff?
Well, for your work, you have to stay abreast of the developments, so that's understood. That's natural. That's not a violation of this principle. But as far as keeping up with mundane news, I don't know how important it is. Srila Prabhupada, in 1977, when he was in Juhu, so Indira Gandhi had declared a state of emergency, and Srila Prabhupada was sort of interested in what was happening. So he had a disciple get a newspaper and read to him from the newspaper. But then he said, what the fools and rascals are saying, that is newspaper. So, I mean, I guess you could glance at it, but I wouldn't spend too much time on it. It's not necessary, probably. But of course, for your profession, you do need to stay abreast of developments.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, thank you for the class. My question is regarding, like we have black and white substance, like newspaper is totally different than what we consider Krishna conscious. But now with the advent of, the social media and smartphones and things like that, so we have a lot of stuff, and some of them is like non-ISKCON. So non-ISKCON is difficult, very easy to categorize, although there are many ISKCON devotees who get into that stuff also. But within ISKCON, we have a whole variety of, talks, right from short talks and clips to big lectures on different topics, which may be very elevated and, So all of that is now made available, and it is all ISKCON stuff. So what happens is that we have limited time and life is busy. So whatever little time could have been spent in Srila Prabhupada's books or his lectures or things connected to him directly, because of feeling excited and that thing looking very lucrative, and it kind of it excites more than just the pure philosophy what Srila Prabhupada gives. So then the time goes there, and we end up in watching small short videos. Sometimes we use them for preaching also. We may put them in our PPTs also. So time goes, and then the pure thing remains aside. And although it's a ISKCON thing, so how do we really look at it? The entire range of audios and videos available for ISKCON devotees by ISKCON devotees, and that it's a practical issue which many of us face. So I thought you can share some wisdom on this.
Well, of course, we should give priority to Srila Prabhupada's words. But hearing from devotees in ISKCON can also be beneficial. I often listen to His Holiness Radhanath Swami's lectures, especially when there's a holy day coming up. So I hear what he said on the topic. And there's so many. His Holiness Indraduma Swami has a lot of good material. And they're following Srila Prabhupada. They're very good devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So supplementing Srila Prabhupada's talks or writings with their talks or writings is good. It's fine. And I remember when Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita first came out, I was in Juhu, the temple president, and many people came to my office and told me that since they started reading Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, they are more interested in reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So these other presentations can also inspire people to read Prabhupada's books. And they should. So I would say it's an individual matter, a matter of proportion. But yes, the greater proportion should be Srila Prabhupada. But the other talks can also nourish our faith in Srila Prabhupada and our resolve in Krishna consciousness. So it's good that those talks are out there and that devotees can avail of them. But they should also use some discrimination. I mean, I happen to mention His Holiness Radhanath Swami and His Holiness Indradumya Swami because I really have faith in their presentations. Thank you. Good question.
Thank you, Mother. Mother, you spoke about proportion. Any guideline you would like to offer? You said it should be a balanced proportion. Because it's a lot. Srila Prabhupada's books are also a lot and other material also, both for reading and hearing. So, something you would like to recommend or suggest in that line?
Well, my initial reaction would be 70% Srila Prabhupada and 30% the others.
Thank you, Mother.
So here's, I don't know where this came from. I read Srila Prabhupada's books, but I find difficulty in seeing the world around with the vision of scriptures. Can you please share some tips to apply Srila Prabhupada's books' teachings and develop the vision of seeing the world through the lenses of Prabhupada's purports?
Hare Krishna. You see, Maharaj likes to answer to the person who has asked the question. Because Maharaj likes to see the person and answer. So please raise the hand so that Maharaj can look at you and answer you. Otherwise, if Maharaj doesn't
There
like
he
the
is.
person. Yeah, you raise the hand? Yeah. Okay, Maharaj, he is the person.
Okay. Well, what is the difficulty in seeing the world around you through the vision of scriptures? Can we give him a microphone?
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, what you find that as the age is continuing, we find the degradation and the distraction in the society around is also very much rampant. So I read Srila Prabhupada books, so it becomes more easy to develop faith and conviction to continue reading when I'm able to see the world with the same vision, or when I'm able to apply the teachings of Srila Prabhupada in my own life. So can you please guide that? Because the more it will happen, the more the conviction to read Srila Prabhupada books will also increase.
Well, my dear godbrother Buri Jan Das has written a very good article called Prayerful Reading. And the idea of prayerful reading is that while you're reading, you should be praying to get out of Srila Prabhupada's books what will be beneficial to you, and then to apply that in your life. Because Srila Prabhupada's books are not dead, they're alive, There's Srila Prabhupada. We get Srila Prabhupada and the whole parampara in his books. And so our mood when we read should be that we're praying to get the message that Srila Prabhupada wants us to get for our own situation, and then apply that in our lives. Yeah, I could email you Burijan Prabhu's little essay on prayerful reading, or I could email it to Radhesham Prabhu and he can forward it to you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
I have a question regarding maybe Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada, pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. So, is there any qualification to remember the pastime in the sense? Because when we read the nectar of devotion, Prabhupada says, one has to be aware of Krishna's pastime. Like when we remember the Drishas binding Krishna. So, that is for remembering, is there any qualification to remember, or anybody can remember the pastime?
Anyone who is fortunate can remember the pastimes. It was our practice in the early days in ISKCON that we would read Krishna book every night before taking rest. And then I found in the morning during japa, I would think of pastimes of Krishna from the Krishna book, which enhanced the experience of the japa. So that's good.
I thought it would be like for me, I was thinking about, is it not a surgery? Because it remembers the pastimes like Buddha and Nagaruka, I mean, they remember the pastimes of Krishna. My level, if I am like a neophyte devotee, if I remember, it should not like a surgery.
It should not what? Sahajas. I don't think it would be. It's good to remember Krishna's pastimes. We're meant to do that. And in the 9 processes of devotional service given by Prahlad, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So Smaranam, remembering. I mean, if you imagine yourself to be in Krishna's pastimes, that might be sahaja, but if you're just remembering the pastimes, that's welcome.
Maharaj, I wanted some clarity on certain types of discussions which are right now in ISKCON quite prevalent. One is dealing with the modern waves about Hindutva, and a lot of people keep talking about what is going on in conversions from Christians, and people talk about we are Sanatanis, we are Sanatan Dharma. So there is a lot of Hindu consciousness instead of pure devotional service discussions. The Hindu idea, because they feel that this is legitimate because we are trying to protect Prabhupada's mission. Otherwise, if Christians take over, then we will not have any opportunity to preach. So there is a mission angle which they bring in. At the same time, a lot of discussions happen based on the Hindu principle, more than the pure devotional service principle. So how do you see, Maharaj, what would Prabhupada want us to do?
Well, it's easier to preach to Hindus generally. And So in that sense, the conversion of Hindus to become Christians is not favorable for our preaching. And but our real aim is pure devotional service. But still, people will be more ready, generally, people will be more ready to hear the pure message of Krishna consciousness if they're Hindus. I mean, Christians can also, but a Hindu who's converted to become a Christian, I mean, they would have a better chance if they stayed Hindu and didn't get converted. So, yeah.
So Maharaj, from the mission viewpoint, it is understandable that if they remain Hindus, it is a favorable environment for preaching. I want to understand also, like these days, some movies are coming out, Kashmir Files, and many other movies are coming out. So people even say that these are actually bona fide to see within ISKCON also, because they are helping us to understand what has happened in degradation of the culture. And like even like now Ram Mandir came, so what all atrocities happened on the Hindus. So how much we should dwell on these subject matters, because there is one sense that we are trying to protect the mission of Prabhupada, another is there is a sense of vengeance which gets created for the other religions as we keep hearing about what all atrocities happened on us.
Well, whenever I consider some social ill in the world, I always feel we have to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books more. As people need the knowledge in Srila Prabhupada's books, and if they accept Srila Prabhupada's message, then they won't be so demonic. So my impulse is always we have to distribute more of Srila Prabhupada's books.
Maharaj, another question was related to there are Vedic literatures which may not be directly pointing towards pure devotional service, like here what we are discussing. It is in the context where Vyasadeva has already written all the Vedic literatures and he is now bringing Srimad Bhagavatam. So before this already Mahabharata and all are written. So how much the devotees can take from other Vedic literatures, discussions, and how they can be seen in pure light of pure devotion service, because many of these literatures like Mahabharata, Ramayana and all, although they are they're connected with Krishna, but our acharyas have not brought light of pure devotion service on these with their commentaries. So it becomes very difficult to discern whether what is being brought is something less than pure devotion service or it is something to be kept within our.
Well, we should, give preference to Srila Prabhupada's books. In the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a summary of the Ramayana. And so if we read those 2 chapters from the 9th canto, we get the essence of the Ramayana, but with Srila Prabhupada's purport, so we know it's pure. I mean, there are devotees who have translated Ramayana and I suppose Mahabharata. But I personally feel more comfortable reading Srila Prabhupada's translations with his purports.
One last in the same connection, Maharaj. Maharaj, Ramayana, Mahabharata and all have been given purports by many other Sampradaya Acharyas. And there, when I hear Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, where he debated with the Tattvavadis and discussed that how Shravanam Kirtanam is the way, not Varnashram. And he said that going back to Vaikuntha is not the goal, but Preeti is the goal. So I personally, in my humble understanding, I understood that although Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always was trying to respect all the acharyas, all the sampradayas, still he was wanting to help us understand the uniqueness of his gift, of what is actually the most exalted way of approaching the Lord. So when devotees approach other sampradayas literatures, it may be from the point of view of the acharya that has given, it may be within the line of at least that it is not like pilgrimage of prose, it may be by the swans, but how we should distinguish what is actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to learn from them.
Within two different...
Like, they are also swan-like personalities. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us some very fine-tuned understanding of what we should take as the highest goals of...
Yeah.
So how if devotees read literatures from other sampradayas, should they keep this fine-tuned discrimination in trying to read those literatures? Because their implications of those purports will have those distinctions, that what Gaudiya Vaishnavism should take and not take. So how should devotees take those purports?
Well, I don't really see the point in reading those other books. I mean, we have Srila Prabhupada's books. I mean, we can spend our whole life reading Srila Prabhupada's books. And many devotees have said, I've also experienced it, that when you read Srila Prabhupada's books, you keep getting new things out of them that you didn't get before. So they're ever fresh, and it will be safer for us to stick to Srila Prabhupada's books and not read books in other sampradayas, even if they're bona fide Vaishnava sampradayas. But we're safer with Srila Prabhupada's books.